think we might see some changes in where players are playing. I was thinking about this today in terms of, he's there to give advice. How far do you go in kind of sort of telling the manager, I know that's not the right thing to do. I think you should do something different, and potentially then undermine him in his position. So that again, that must be a careful balancing act. So I think Nigel will make changes in terms of positional play. I'd like to think he's definitely going to think about playing Christian Dennis where he should be, and understanding that a striker like that thrives off balls into the box. So we might go back to that sort of 4-4-2. It depends where Luke Norris is, I guess, in terms of fitness. I think if he's fit, he's probably a starter, because I think losing him, it's not the excuse of the performances, but he does make a difference. You can see that in the games that he played this season. He's that focal point that we've missed for such a long time. So I can see us maybe going back to a 4-4-2 with the likes of sort of Morris and Hawks. I hope Hawks gets more game times. I think he's, many people have said he's one of our best players without a doubt, and I think he's been really, really unlucky not to get more game time this season, particularly based on the performances of some of the other players. So I think we will see some formation and some positional changes. I can't see any wholesale changes. I don't think he'll go to that extreme, because I think on the whole, I think the players we've got are the best players at the club, and it's just getting the right tune out of them.
I do wonder as well if just the way he will command more respect as a manager will make a difference as well. Look, I don't know whether Ian Dawes was getting that respect from the dressing room, but I suspect even if he was, Nigel Adkins will be afforded more of it because of the reputation he has within the game, the standing that he has within the game, and what he's achieved in the game as well. And look, we as people look at, I'm sure you do it at companies you've worked for, I do it at companies I've worked for. You look at people and go, well, I don't really respect this guy. How's he got to the position that he's got to? And there will, I am sure, have been players at Tranmere who did exactly the same this season and maybe down tools a little bit, or didn't give 100% every time they stepped on the pitch for Ian Dawes, because they just looked at him and didn't have the same level of respect as they ought to have for a manager. And that reflects very badly on them, by the way. As much as it might sound like I'm having a dig at Ian Dawes, it reflects very badly on the players if they're not giving it all, because they don't have the respect that they should do for a manager of a football club. But you just feel like Nigel Adkins will get that bit more out of them in that respect.
Absolutely. I don't think any player there worth their salt is going to look at Nigel and not respect what he's achieved in the game. And I think, that demands respect. You looked at Ian Dawes, and he seemed a nice guy, and that's always not the best thing to be, I guess, in that environment. You think about, you can picture Mickey Mellon absolutely, making his point, no doubt about it, in the dressing room if things weren't working well. I couldn't picture Ian Dawes doing that. He didn't seem to have that about him.
He didn't look like a reading the riot act kind of manager, did he?
No, absolutely not. And I don't think Nigel Adkins is a shouter. I think he's a very measured person. I do a lot of leadership development in my job, and we often talk about, you can have difficult conversations with people without shouting and bawling. You can do it in the right way. Nigel Adkins comes across to me as the person that would do that. He would make it very clear what he wants from people, or what he demands, what he expects, and where it's not working. But he would do it in a way that people would feel supported and feel like they want to go out and do it for him. He strikes me as that kind of person. So, I think you're right. I think some of the players have looked disinterested, which is a shame, because you've got one or two, like Connor Jennings. You can tell every game he's played, he has absolutely run his heart out, because he knows Tranmere Rovers, and he knows that's the minimum expectation. And we need somebody, or need one or two people, 3 or 4 or 5 people indeed, to come along with that and be those voices. And I think Nigel is the kind of person who can get that out of a team, because he's been there, he's seen it, and he's done it. and that demands respect from players.